Hello everyone. One of the questions you might be asking is, when am I going to use this stuff in real life? And so today we're going to start looking at some of the ways quadratic functions are useful in real life. Sometimes there are certain sets of data that are modeled by quadratic functions, and hopefully as you see some of the problems that we do, you'll notice that there are certain types of problems and certain ways that the quadratic function ends up being useful. So we have this situation here where a study compared the speed, x in miles per hour, and the average fuel economy, y, in miles per gallon for cars. Results are shown in the table. We want to find a quadratic model in standard form for the data. And since we have lots of points here, it's very probable that there's not going to be an exact quadratic function that's going to model this. Therefore, we need to find a quadratic function that's close to it. And the way to find the best quadratic model, the one that's closest to going through all of these points, is to use the process of quadratic regression. Now you'll remember in Algebra 1, if you had Algebra 1 as a freshman, we did work with linear regression. If you're a sophomore, this might be new to you, depending on how you used or did not use graphing calculators in 8th grade. So first thing we're going to do is we need to edit the lists in our calculator and type in the data. And the general way to do it, the most conventional, is that we're going to put all of the x values in list 1 and all of the y values in list 2. When you do this, it's very important that the points line up with each other, and obviously you want to be careful about your typing. So it looks like all my x values are just starting at 15 and going up by 5. So I'll go type those in first. So there's your calculator. And to put data in, we go to the stat key, and then we're going to choose the first option, which is edit. Now, notice all of the keys that I'm pressing are on the right side of the screen. So if you want to write those down as we go, hopefully that'll help you follow along what we're pushing, and it'll help you remember later. If I want to clear out, you'll notice I already have some data in this list. If I go to the top of the screen, the top of the list there, and I hit clear and then enter, that gets rid of all the data in my list. If I want to just get rid of an individual piece of data, I can just hit the delete button and it'll only delete that row. So I'll go clear the list 1 out, and I'll start typing in my x and y values. So there's all my x values typed into list 1. Now I'm going to go grab my y values from list 2. So we got 22.3, 25.5, 27.5, 29.0, 28.8, 30.0, 29.9, 30.2, 30.4, 28.8, 27.4, and 25.3. So all of our data is typed in. So now what we want to do is run the quadratic regression. In order to run the quadratic regression, we have to be at our home screen. So I'm going to do second quit. That'll get me back to my home screen. And then I'm going to use the following sequence of keys to run the quadratic regression. So stat, arrow over to calc, the calc tab on the top, and then I'm going to choose number 5 for quadratic regression. You'll notice right above it, 4 was what we used in Algebra 1 to find the line that went through a bunch of points. So now we want a parabola, so we'll choose the quadratic regression, and then I'll hit enter, and you'll notice what comes out is A, B, and C. So that's the A, B, and C that I'm going to substitute for the values of A, B, and C in the standard form. As you'll notice, there's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, the standard form of the quadratic function. So f of x equals negative 0.008x squared plus 0.746 x plus 13.472. So that's how, if we have just a bunch of data, we want to find a parabola that approximately fits the data. That's how we do it. One more thing I want to show you. You don't always have to do this, but sometimes you might want to use the equation, and you might want to use the capabilities of your graphing calculator to graph this equation and be able to use it to do some of the other problems. So let me go back to the calculator for a sec. If you want to paste your function that you got from the regression into one of the lines in your y equals screen, you can do that. And what I'm going to do the same way. I'm going to start it off the same way. So stat, arrow over to calc, run the quadratic regression. What I need to do though is tell it what lists I want to use. So I'll do second, and you'll notice in blue above the 1 key is list 1. So second list 1, then press the comma key, then second list 2, then the comma key again, and in order to paste it into a y equals line in the y equals screen, I need to get a y1. The way I get y1 is I go to vars. Notice vars here under the arrow keys. Arrow over to the yvars tab. Then I choose function. And then I choose whichever line of the y equals screen I want to paste it into. So I'm going to say I want to paste it into the y1. And you'll notice now it reads quadratic regression, list 1, comma, list 2, comma, y1. I hit enter. It runs my quadratic regression. Then if I go to the y equals screen, there's my function in the y1 line. And now I'm ready to do any of the problems that I would want to do with the graph using the calculator. So hopefully now you'll be able to use your calculator, and you'll see this has some other very useful applications of it in the future as well.